Hey guys, Yowie Chaser. Alright, we've got a good one today. This is a military sighting, guys. So we're getting lots of military sightings. So if you've been in the military and you've had a sighting, now's the time to tell your story. A lot of people are now coming forward. I don't know, the world's changing. It's like everyone wants to tell their story. Alright, so if you want to tell your story, guys, just come over here to Yowie Sightings Australia. Join up here. When you join, there's a little question and you can answer that. You can put your story in there if you like. Anyway, we've got actually few stories from this place. There's Broke. There's the military area. I'll just show you on the map. So here's Broke. So there's a road along here where all these sightings seem to be taken part. The military base is here. I don't even know how you pronounce it. Pokolbin. So I've had a few military people tell us about this same Yowie that they see all the time. I'd like to confirm if other people have seen this Yowie. They say it's skinny, a real skinny looking one. Looks like malnourished or whatever. Alright, so we'll get into that in a sec. Now, if you go back here, there's a few other sightings you might want to go watch. Alright, let's get into this one then. And don't forget, guys, if you've been here, or anyone that's had anything from this area, I've had a few people report sightings. I don't know if I've told them on reporting them yet, posted them yet on YouTube. So there's a couple more after this. I don't know if I'll fit them all in this one video. So stay tuned. There'll be more after this one. We'll just keep going until we get through them all. All right. So this one, after reading the post earlier about the army. Oh, sorry. I haven't got a number for this. I don't know what number it is, guys. Anyway, I'll fix that up later. So after reading the post earlier about the army veteran encounter, I thought this may also be interest of some. Sorry, long story. That's what I mean. Through the group, guys. Through this group, we get a few military people that come through, and they tell their sightings. So that's what this guy's actually read one and then wanted to tell his story. About 2 weeks ago, I was chatting with one of my old army mates who was also an old section commander in East Timor and Iraq in the early 2000s. Topic of weird stuff out of bush come up, and as I told him about some of the stories on this page, he recounted his experience when he had posting down to the School of Infantry near Singleton, New South Wales in 2006 to train infantry recruits. He and his trainee sections had an encounter with what he believes was a Yowie at the southern end of the military training area, where it rises up to the Pokolbin forest. Rises up. There you go, guys. Anyway, let's keep going. I'll have a look at that on the map soon. His trainee section, we're in there right in their night harbour with a couple of sentries out, and the rest of the section at stand too. He knew they were supposed to get bumped in the night from the enemy party, but wasn't sure when. It wasn't long after dark he heard his sentries telling someone to F off and to stop throwing rocks. He was in the middle of the section harbour and said he got his kit on and the night vision, NVG, and went to find out why his sentries were breaking sound discipline. On his way there, he heard one of them start to yell out for help, so he hurried there a bit quicker, thinking he was going to give them an ass kicking for lack of sound discipline. When he arrived, he saw one of the sentries knocked out with blood coming from his head. The other sentry said someone threw a rock about the size of a tennis ball and it clocked the guy in the head. They thought it was the enemy party messing with them and started with rocks thrown near them and then hitting quite close to them. Neither had seen anyone out there with their NVGs, but it was thick bush and a canopy, and the NVGs back then weren't so good in very low passive light, especially being grey screen. My mate assumed the same, that it was the enemy party messing with them. So he got on the radio to the enemy party commander asking what the hell they were doing. The enemy party commander said they hadn't even left the platoon rear echelon yet to go bump any of their sections. My mate thought, nah, they haven't a land of him. So he decided to march down the hill himself and find out who was messing with him. He also called on the radio to the platoon commander, a no Duff Kazvik, for the sentry that was still knocked out, and requested a medic to come up to their position. He also thought by going down to the rear echelon he could escort the medic back up. He said the platoon rear echelon was about 500 meters down the hill and across a shallow rocky creek in the dark with only NVG. It wasn't going to be quick, but he knew the way. It was on his walk down the hill when crossing the creek. He said he saw the thing. He said it was crouched over and looked kind of hairy. It was hard to see in the crouch position, but there was enough ambient light in the opening of the creek line for him to make it out. In his MVG, he thought it might be one of the enemy party dressed in a Yowie ghillie suit and staying still, trying not to be seen. So he started walking up the rocky, shallow creek bed toward it and yelled out to it, saying, "Hey, CUNT, I can see you. Stop effing around." He said he got to about 20 meters from it, and then it stood up and looked right at him. He said it was easily 7 foot tall or taller, way taller than any soldier he knew to be out there. He also said a major thing he noticed is its hair was patchy, and the creature looked very skinny, almost like it was sickly. He said its eyes glowed very shiny in the MVG. He couldn't tell the colour of its hair looking through the green screen of the MVG, but he said it appeared lighter than the darker riverbed. He said he and the creature were both paused looking at one another, what felt like 10 seconds or so. Then he turned and bolted into the bush behind the creek. He said he was like, what the hell was that? He said he didn't feel scared, as he said if he wanted to do something to him, it would have. Plus, he thought if it did come at him, he could fire a volley of blanks at it to scare it. And he also had his combat knife if needed. But 2 tours of East Timor and a tour of Iraq, 7 years in the army, many years experience deer hunting in the Vic High Country, it made him very in tune with the bush, not much would scare him. He didn't bother trying to follow it, as the bush was very dense, as he mentioned, and the MVG didn't work that good in dense bush canopy. He continued down to the platoon echelon and re-encountered what had occurred to the platoon commander and sergeant. They were in a bit of a disbelief, but they saw the priority of getting the medic up to the trainee. So they called a halt to the exercise and to go to white light to get help back up the hill to the section harbour. Eventually, when they got back up there, nothing else had occurred to the trainees, and they were all brought back down the hill to the platoon echelon, and with the knocked out guy carried down on a stretcher. He was then conveyed out in the rover back of the main base. The rest stayed out for the night at the platoon echelon. The next morning he had to give a report of what had happened and sit down meeting with the platoon and company commanders and company sergeant major. He said they all said he must have imagined what he saw and told him to change his statement in the report. They suggested that the sentry must have stood up and slipped over and knocked himself out. My mate said he refused to alter his statement and submitted it as is. Where this statement went, or whoever got to read it, if anyone did, he doesn't know. So, the interesting thing he said was about 6 months later, one of his good friends, Commando, with 2 CDO Reg, was up there doing some training, solo navigation exercises near the foothills of the Pokolbin too. And he reckons he had an encounter along the track with a creature on dust that looked the same as what my mate saw 6 months earlier. He said the creature apparently crossed the track in front of him, paused for a second, looked at him, then ran off into the bush. Again, he described it as being 7 foot tall or taller and very skinny, sickly looking, and with seemingly grey long hair that was patchy in areas. He said for him, it did freak him out and he didn't feel comfortable stomping around the area of bush on his own anymore. Thought the creature didn't display any aggressive behaviours. He said just the fact that he saw something like that running around out there, he didn't want to be out there on his own any longer. Both my mates and his commando mate that chatted to him said they didn't get any smell from the creature. My mate, after his time in the army, moved back to Vic High Country, where he continued a deer hunt, spending many days out in the bush alone, but has never seen anything like that. But has never seen anything like what he saw back on the 2006 at Pokolbin. Alright, thanks for sharing that, mate. Alright, like I said, guys, there's been a few signs from there, so I don't know. Here's this Pokolbin. Alright, so they said the southern areas. So it says here military area. Don't know. Transmission towers. I don't actually know where the. Oh god, that might stuff it up. Southern. This is southern, so probably in this area here, I'd say. It'd be good to know actually where it was. Where's this bloody road? This road here, guys, is the road where people will see, oh, look at that, it goes right through there, guys. Why are we getting all of these, Yowie sightings around military bases? It's pretty weird. Maybe they know they're safe in there. Is there one of their relatives captured and they've kept on base? Or have they been captured there and they keep going back there to look for them? I don't know, it's pretty weird that every military base in Australia and even in America, there's always Yowie sightings around them. So yeah, it's pretty trippy. Alright, what's this road here? Alright, I'll read the other ones out later. This one's gone on too long, guys. Just remember, that's going to end. That's not going to work. Just remember, go to Yowie Sightings Australia, guys. If you want to read people's sightings or if you've got a sighting, just remember, we don't muck around that side. If you do anything wrong, you'll get kicked out straight away, alright? This is for people to tell their sightings. And if you're going to laugh at them or you're going to talk crap, you're just going to get removed, guys. Alright, see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.